The complete work of Swami Vivekananda, Volume 5, Section 7, Writings, Poems and Prose. Who knows how mother plays? Perchance a prophet thou. Who knows who dares touch the depth where mother hides? Or silent, failless bolts. Perchance the child had glimpse of shades behind the scene. With eager eyes and strained, quivering forms, ready to jump in front and be events resistless and strong. Who knows but mother how and where and when they come? Perchance the shining sage saw more than he could tell. Who knows what soul and when the mother makes her throne? What law would freedom bind? What merit guide her will? Whose frick is greatest order? Whose will resistless law? To child may glories up, which father never dreamt, may thousandfold in daughter her powers mother store. Next to the 4th of July. The 4th of July. It is well known that Swami Vivekananda's death or resurrection, as some of us would prefer to call it, took place on the 4th of July 1902. On the 4th of July 1898, he was traveling with some American disciples in Kashmir and has part of the domestic conspiracy for the celebration of the day, the anniversary of the American Declaration of Independence. He prepared the following poem to be read aloud at the early breakfast. The poem itself fell to be keeping of Dhiramata. Behold, the dark clouds melt away, that gathered thick at night and hung, so like a gloomy pall above the earth. Before thy magic touch, the world awakes, the birds in chorus sing, the flowers raise their star like crowns. Dew set and wave thy welcome fair. The lakes are opening wide in love, their 100,000 lotus eyes, to welcome thy with all their depth. All hail to thy, thou Lord of light. A welcome new of a welcome new to thy today. O Sun, today thou sheddest liberty. Bethink thy how the world did wait. Bethink thy how world did wait and search for thy through time and clime. Some gave up home and love of friends and went in quest of thy self banished through dreary oceans, through primeval forest, each step a struggle for their life or death. Then came the day when work bore fruit, and worship, love, and sacrifice, fulfilled, accepted, and complete. Then thou, propitious, rose to share the light of freedom on mankind. Move on, O Lord, in thy resistless path, till thy high noon, O spread the world, till every land reflects thy light, till man and woman with uplifted head behold their shackles broken and know in springing joy their life renewed. Next, the East and the West. Introduction. Vast and deep rivers, swelling and impetuous, charming pleasure gardens by the river bank, putting to the shame the celestial Nandan Kannan. Amidst these pleasure gardens rise, towering to the sky, beautiful marble palaces decorated with the most exquisite workmanship of fine art on the sides, in front, and behind. clusters of hut with the crumbling mud walls and the dilapidated roof, the bamboo of which forming their skeleton as it were, are exposed to view, moving about here and there, emaciated figures of young and old in the tailored, tattered tattered rags, whose faces bear deep cut line of the despair and poverty of hundreds of years. Cows, bullocks, buffaloes, everywhere. Yeah, the same melancholy look in their eyes, the same feeble psyche on the wayside, refuse and dirt. This is our present day India. Worn out huts by a very side of palaces, piles of refuge in the near proximity of temples. The sannyasin claimed with only a little loin cloth, walking by the glorious rest, the pitiful gaze of lustreless eyes of the hungry stricken at the well fed and the amply provided. This is our native land. Devastation by violence, plague, and cholera, malaria eating into the very vital of the nation. Starvation and semi-starvation has second nature. Death like famine. Often dancing is tragic dance. The Kurukshetra, that is the battlefield of malady and misery. The huge discrimination ground, strewn with the dead bones of lost hope, activity, joy, and courage. And in the midst of that, sitting in august silence, the yogi, observing or absorbed in deep communion with the spirit, with no other goal in the life than moksha. This is what meets the eye of the European travelers in India. A, a conglomeration of 300 million souls resembling man only in appearance, crushed out of life by being downtrodden by their own people and foreign nations, by people professing their own religion and by others of the foreign faiths. Patience in labor and suffering, and devoid of initiatives like the slave, without any hope, without any past, without any future, desirous only of maintaining the present life anyhow, however precarious of malicious nature, befitting a slave to whom the prosperity of their fellow man is unbearable, bereft of Shraddha, like one with whom all hope is dead, faithless, whose weapon of defense is base, trickery, treachery, and shyness, like that of the fox, the embodiment of selfishness, licking the dust of the feet of the strong, withal dealing or death blow to those who are comparatively weak, full those who are full of ugly, diabolic superstitions which come naturally to those who are weak and hopeless of the futures, without any standard of morality of their backbone. 300 millions of souls such as this are swarming on the body of India like so many worms on the rotten, stinking carcass. This is the picture concerning us, which naturally presents itself to the English officials. Madden maddened with the wine of newly acquired powers, devoid of discrimination between right and wrong, fierce like wild beast, handpicked, lustful, drenched in liquor, having no idea of chastity or purity, nor of cleanly way and habits, believing in matter only, with the civilization resting on matter and its various application, addicted to the aggrandizement of self by exploiting others countries, others wealth by force, trick, and treachery, having no faith in life hereafter, whom atman, that is self, is the body, whose whole life is only in the senses and creature comfort. Thus, to the Indians, the Westerner is the worst demon, that is Asur. These are the views of the observer on both sides, views born of mutual discrimination and superstitious knowledge or ignorance. The foreigners, the Europeans, come to India, live in a palatial building in the perfectly clean and healthy quarters of our town, and compare our native quarters with their neat and beautiful laid out cities at home. The Indians with whom they come in contact are only of one class, those who hold some sort of employment under them. And indeed, distress and poverty are nowhere else to be met with as in India. Beside that, there is no gainsaying that dirt and filthy are everywhere. To the European mind, it is inconceivable that anything good can possibly be amidst such dirt, such slavery, and such degradations. We, on the other hand, see that the Europeans eat without discrimination, whatever they get, no have no idea of cleanliness as we have, do not observe caste distinction, freely mixed with women, drink wine, and shamelessly dance at the ball. Men and women held in each other's arm, and we ask ourselves in amazement, what good can there be in such a nation? But these views are derived from without and do not look within and below the surface. We do not allow foreigners to mix in our society and we call them lichas. They also, in their turn, hate us. They also, in their turn, hate us as slaves and call us niggers. In both of these views, there must be some truth, though neither of the parties has been the real thing behind the other. With every man, there is an idea. The external man is only the outward manifestation, the mere language of this idea within. Likewise, every nation has the corresponding national idea. This idea is working for the world and is necessary for its preservation. The day when necessity of an idea has an element for the preservation of the world is over. That very day, receptacle, that very day, the receptacle of that idea, whether it be an individual or a nation, will meet destruction. The reason that we Indians are still living in spite of so much misery, distress, poverty, and oppression from within and without is that we have national idea which is yet necessary for the preservation of the world. The European too have the national idea of their own, without which the world will not be go on. Therefore they are so strong. Does a man live a moment? If he loses all his strength, a nation is the sum total of so many individual men. Will the nation live if it has utterly loss all this strength and activity? Why did not this Hindu race die out in the face of so many troubles and tumults of the 1,000 years? If our customs and manners are so very bad, how is it that we have not been effaced from the face of the earth by the time? Have the various foreign conquerors squared any pains to crush us out? Why then were not the Hindus blotted out of existence, has happened with men in other countries which are uncivilized? Why are not India depopulated and turned into the wilderness? Why? Then the foreigners would have lost no time to come and settle in India until her fertile lands in the same way as they did and are still doing in America, Australia, and Africa. Well, then my foreigners, you are not so strong as you think yourself to be. It is vain imagination. First, understand that India has strength as well, has a substantial reality of her own yet. Furthermore, understand that India is still living because she has her own codes yet to give to the general store of the world civilization, and you too understand this full well I mean those of our countrymen who have become thoroughly European both in external habits and in the way of thoughts and ideas, and who are continually crying their eyes out and praying to the European to save them. We are degraded. We have come down to the level of brutes. Oh, yeah, European people, you are our slavers. You are our saviors. Have pity on us and raise us from this fallen state. And you to understand this, who are singing and rising a hue and cry that Jesus is come to India and are seeing the fulfillment of the divine decree in the fullness of time. Oh dear, no, neither Jesus is come nor Jehovah, nor will they come. They are now busy in saving their own hearties and homes, have no time to come to our country. Here is the self same old Shiva seated as before, the bloody mother Kali worshipped with the self same paraphernalia, the pastoral shepherd of love, Sri Krishna playing on his flute. Once this old Shiva riding on his bull and tabouring on his damru traveled from India on the one side to Sumatra, Borneo, Celebes, Australia, as far as the shore of America, and on the other side, this old Shiva battened his bull in Tibet, China, Japan, and as far up to the Siberia, and is still doing the same. The Mother Kali is still exacting her worship event in China and Japan. It is she whom the Christian metamorphosed into the Virgin Mary and worship as the mother of Jesus the Christ. Behold the Himalayas. There to the there to the north is Kailash, the main abode of Lord Shiva. That throne, the 10-headed, 20-armed mighty Ravan could not shake. Now for the missionaries to attempt the task. Bless my soul. Here in India will ever be the old Shiva tabouring on his damru. The Mother Kali worshipped with animal sacrifice and the lovable Krishna playing on his flute. Firm as the Himalayas they are, and no attempt of anyone, Christian or other missionaries, will ever be able to remove them. If you cannot bear them, avoid. For a handful of you shall a whole nation be wearied out of all patience and bored of death. Why don't you make your own somewhere else where you may find fields to graze upon freely? The wide world is open to you, but no, that they won't do. Where is that strength to do so? They would eat the salt of that old Shiva and play him false, slander him and sing the glory of the fallen Savior. Dear me, to such to such of our countrymen who go whimpering before foreigners. We are very low, we are mean, we are degraded. Everything we have is diabolical. To them we say, yes, that may be the truth, forsooth, because you profuse to be truthful, and we have no reason to disbelieve you. But why do you include the whole nation in that we? Pray, sir, what sort of good manner is that? First, we have to understand that there are not any good qualities which are privileged monopoly of one nation only. Of course, as with individuals, so with nations, there may be the prevalence of certain good qualities and or more or less in one nation than in another. With us, the prominent idea of mukti with the Westerner is the dharma. What we desire is mukti. What they want is dharma. Here, the word dharma is used in the sense of mimamsa. What is dharma? Dharma is that which makes men seek for happiness in the world or the next. Dharma is establishment on work. Dharma is impelling men day and night to run after work for happiness. What is mukti? That which teaches that even the happiness of this life is slavery, and the same is the happiness of the life to come, because neither this world nor the next is beyond the law of nature. Only the slavery of this world is to that of the next has an iron chain, is to a golden one. Again, happiness, wherever it may be, being within the law being within the law of nature, is a subject to death and will not last infinitum. Therefore, man must aspire to become mukta. He must go beyond the bondage of body. Slavery will not do. This moksha path is only in India and nowhere else. Hence it's hence is true the oft repeated saying that Mukta soul are only in India and in no other country. But it is equally true that in future they will be in other country as well. That is well and good and a thing of great pleasure to us. There was a time in India when dharma was compatible with mukti. There were worshippers of dharma such as Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Duryodhana, Bhishma, Karna, side by side with the aspirant of mukti, such as Vyasa, Shuka, and Janak. On the advent of Buddhism, dharma was entirely neglected and the path of moksha alone became predominant. Hence, we read in the Agni Puran in the language of the similes that the demon Gayasura, that is Buddha, tried to destroy the world by showing the path of moksha to all. And therefore the Devas held a council and by stratagem set him to rest forever. However, the central fact is that the fall of our country, of which we hear so much spoken, is due to the utter want of this dharma. If the whole nation practices the following path of the moksha, that is well and good. But it's that possible? Without enjoyment, renunciation can never come. First enjoy and then you can renounce. Otherwise, if the whole nation all of a sudden takes up sannyas, it does not gain what is desired, but it loses what it had into the bargain. The bird in the hand of fleet. The bird in the hand is fleet, nor is that in the bush caught. When in the heyday of the Buddhistic supremacy, thousands of sannyasin lived in every monastery. Then it was that the country was just on the verge of ruin. Buddhas, Christians, and Muslims and the Jains prescribed, in their folly, the same way and same rule for all. That is a great mistake. Education, habit, custom, law, and rules should be different for different man and nation. In should be different for different man and nation. In conformity, in conformity with their difference of temperaments, what will it avail if one tries to make them all uniform by compulsion? The Buddhas declared, nothing is more desirable in life than moksha. Whosoever you are, one, come one and all to take it. I ask, it had ever possible. You are a householder. You must not concern us yourself much with the thing of that sort. You do your swadharma, that is natural duty. Thus say the Hindu scriptures. Exactly so. He who cannot leap 1 foot is going to jump across the ocean to Lanka in one bound. Is it reason? You cannot feed your own family or dole out food to two of your fellow men. You cannot do even an ordinary piece of work for the common good. in harmony with the others, and you are running after moksha. The Hindu scripture says, no doubt, moksha is far superior to dharma, but dharma should be finished first at all. Dharma should be finished first of all. The Bodhas were confounded just there and brought about all sorts of mischiefs. Non injure is right, resist not evil is a great thing. These are indeed grand principles, but the great things. These are indeed grand principles, but the scriptures say, thou art a householder. If anyone smites there on thy cheek, and thou dost not return him an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, thou wilt verily, thou thou wilt verily be a sinner. Manu says, when one has come to kill you, there is no sin in killing him, even though he be a Brahman. This is a very this is a very true, and this is a thing which should not be forgotten. Heroes only enjoy the world. You show your heroism. Apply accordingly to circumstances. The fourfold political maximizes the fourfold political maximums of conciliation, bribery, sowing, distraction, dissension, and open war to win all over dissension and open war to win over your adversity and enjoy the world, then you will be dharmic. Otherwise, you live a disgraceful life in your pocket would and your pocket your insults when you are kicked and trolled. Life is a variable hell here, and so is the life hereafter. This is what the Shastra says. Do your swadharma. This is true, the truth of truth. This is my advice to you, my beloved co-religionist. Of course, do not do any wrong. Other, do not do good. Do good to others as such as yours way. But passively to submit the wrong But passively to submit the wrong done by others is the sin. With the householders, he must try to pay them back in their own coin. The householder must earn money with great efforts and enthusiasm, and by that must worship and bring comfort to his own family and to others, and perform good works as far as possible. If you cannot do that, you have how do you profess to be a man? You are not a householder even. What to talk of moksha for you? We have said before that dharma is based on work. The nature of dharma is constant performance of mimamsa. It had some part of the Vedas which Vedas which do not enjoy work are not properly speaking Vedas at the purpose of the Vedas at all. One of the aphorism of Gemini runs thus: the purpose of the Vedas being work, those part of the Vedas that do not deal with work miss the mark. By constant repetition of the syllabus Om and by meditation on its meaning, everything can be observed. All sins are washed away by uttering the name of the Lord. He gives all He gives all who resign himself to the will of God. Yes, these words of the Shastras and this word of the Shastras and the sages are no doubt true. But do you see thousands of us are for our work whole life meditation on Om are getting occultated ac- in devotion in the name of Lord and by crying, they will be done. I am fully designed to die. And what are they actually getting? What are they actually getting in return? Absolutely nothing. How do you account for others or for this? The reason lies here, and it must be fully understood. Those meditation is real and effective. Who can really design himself to the will of God? Who can utter with the power irreversible, like that of the thunderbolt, the name of Lord. It is he who has earned chitta shuddhi, that is, whose mind has been purified by work. And in other words, he who is dharmic.